Welcome to Asian Book Club, where we highlight Asian and Asian American authors. We are your hosts,
Jamae and Sabangan.
And I'm Stephen Park. And this week, I wanted to come up with a nickname for y'all, our listeners.
Yeah.
Jamae is not as excited about this idea.
Well, it's because I think that the listeners should name themselves.
Which I agree. So I am just putting my ideas out there. But what I'd love is for everyone to comment or come up with really cool names, because I think brainstorm happens best sometimes with more people. Maybe not all the time.
I mean, especially when you're naming a group of people, I feel like the people themselves should be naming themselves.
Oh, for sure. I do too. But I had ideas.
Steven always has ideas.
So I have many bad to mediocre ideas, and I have two ones that I actually like.
Okay.
But you're going to go through my whole thought process with me.
All right. Give us your first idea.
Okay. This one's pretty bad. AB Sisters and Misters.
Yikes.
And everyone.
And
Okay. Next idea.
So we can already agree that that's not a great idea.
It's out there. AB Sitters Club.
Yikes.
AB Cedars?
How would you spell that?
Like, I take a seat.
Ah, but is the C a seat? Ceaters?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
No, bad English.
It feels like we're getting worse. I thought you said from bad to mediocre,
Okay.
not from mediocre to bad.
This is where it gets better. I got three more.
Okay.
Okay, next one. AB Simps?
No.
Because y'all be simping on us?
No.
Okay. Alright. Second, number 2, Silver, Book Dragons.
But just our listeners? I feel like book dragons can be anyone outside of our listenership.
True, but our listeners are our book dragons.
Okay. This seems like a very Game of Thronesy type thing now.
Which is even better. Okay. Last but not least, you ready?
I don't know if I am, but go for it.
Alpha Besties.
I think that sounds pretty okay.
So, if you can beat AB Sitters and Misters
Oh no!
or Alpha Besties, please drop us a comment, send us DM, send us email, which we'll have at the end of this episode. Send us your ideas, because Jamae's face right now is showing desperation for any other ideas.
Well, I feel like y'all might have better ideas out there, and I trust y'all to have an actual name that you'll be proud to use. So, yes, please let us know what you would like to be called.
I am disappointed in myself that I didn't take a picture of Jamae's face so that we could post it on our Instagram, because it was very disappointed. So, I actually like Alpha Besties. That was the one that I actually did like, but it took, it's like dating, right? Like, you have to date the bad ones before you get to the good one.
Not always.
True.
But I see where you're coming from.
It took me a while to get to that one. Trust me, there were worse ideas. Anyways, if you have recommendations for us, please send it to us. But for now, we'll give you our recommendation for the week.
All right. For this week's recommendation, I'm recommending Dr. Kiona, who is known as an educator through travel. And as her bio in Instagram says, she uses social media to do good-ish. Fill in the blanks. What I appreciate about Dr. Kiona is that she is community-focused and centers a global lens. She applies her Patreon dollars to assist locals she stays in contact with all across the world, and she intentionally and thoughtfully puts together learning tours with guides and companies that are run by Indigenous folks. So I would highly recommend looking her up on Instagram at Dr. Kiona, Doctor, so fully spelled out Dr. Kiona, Kiona. Especially for those of you who are interested in traveling while also learning about the cultures you are encountering.
Yeah, and like we know from Elena from Little Fires Everywhere, the best education is travel. So, but yeah, Dr. Kiona, that's our recommendation for the week. So, let's recap our hints and review so that we can find out what our next book is going to be.
Mm-hmm. We had 3 hints during our last episode. First, we said that the author is a vegetarian who was working as a textbook editor when she started taking a class in memoir writing. Second, this memoir is a collection of essays. And third, it's both a celebration and a conflict all at once.
Yep.
So, our book club pick number 3 is... Happy Birthday or Whatever, Tracksuits, Kimchi, and Other Family Disasters by Annie Choi. Let's take a look at the cover. So, at the front of the cover, you see a cake that's dropped in front of feet wearing flip-flops, or what us Guamis like to call them, Zoris.
Mm-hmm.
And on the back cover, let's take a look at the description. It says, "Meet Annie Choi. She fears cable cars and refuses to eat anything that casts a shadow. Her brother thinks chicken is a vegetable. Her father occasionally starts fires at work. Her mother collects Jesus trading cards and wears plaid like it's a job. No matter how hard Annie and her family try to understand one another, they often come up hilariously short. But in the midst of a family crisis, Annie comes to realize that the only way to survive one another is to stick together, as difficult as that might be. Annie Choi's Happy Birthday or Whatever is a side-splitting, eye-opening, and transcendent tale of coping with an infuriating, demanding, but ultimately loving Korean family."
Yeah, and so let's talk a little bit more about Annie Choi. Annie was born and raised in California. She was raised in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. She got her Bachelor of Arts at University of California, Berkeley, and a Master of Fine Arts at Columbia University. Her work has appeared in spaces such as White Zinfandel, Urban Omnibus, and Pigeon Magazine.
Mm-hmm.
She also included the fact that although she may be vegetarian, she loves animals that eats other animals, and she also hates musicals. That was all one sentence that she included. And then her website that you can find her is www.annietown.com.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is it weird that I said www? Is that a really old thing to do?
I don't think so. I still see it on some web addresses still.
But do people say it?
Some people do.
Okay. Old people?
Some people do.
Okay. Anyways, let's get to our predictions of the book. So, what are you thinking? Because this was your choice, right?
This was my choice, and just like book club pick number 2, Happy Birthday or Whatever is also a book I've previously read. However, so much time has passed already that I can't remember full essays or even full stories that Annie Choi has told. I can only remember little bits and vignettes of the essays. Knowing what I do know and knowing what the description talks about, I'm imagining a lot of conflict between and among her family members.
Very Korean of her. I have not read this book. I honestly have never heard of this book. Looking for this book was a challenge in itself a little bit. So if you are looking for it, we went to
Better World Books, but I'm pretty sure that there are other websites that are either book swap websites or used book websites that could possibly have it.
Right. And there's bigger corporation ones that also have it. But, you know, we're always trying to figure out where we can get our books the best.
Totally. But when we tried looking for it through our regional library, they no longer had it. Right. I know that they used to because I'm sure I borrowed the second of Annie Choi's books, and I knew that they also had her first book before, but now both of them are no longer in the in our library system anyway.
Right.
So purchasing it or finding a book swap group might be the best.
Right. So my predictions are pretty nil. Like, I'm not really sure what to expect from it, but what I can say is I did go to annietown.com and it has links to her Facebook and her Twitter. And she just seems like someone who is funny. Like, she doesn't seem like someone who writes material that's really funny. Or maybe she is, but she just seems like someone that you would sit next to and laugh with.
Totally, someone you would enjoy conversing with.
So I'm really excited about it because I love those people. I love people who are just naturally just see the world in a view that is light and humorous, even though it may be dark. That seemingly may be the way that this book goes, because when you look at the cover, it's not just a cake that's on the ground. It is a smashed cake right next to her feet. So I'm assuming there's some madness within this whole thing, but it seems like she's a comedian by nature, so I'm hoping that there's that like dark humor that is embedded within these essays.
For sure. And something that I mentioned to Steven when we were picking out this book and like talking about reading this book was something that I found out is that Annie Choi is not necessarily a writer in career, which I think what I remember of the essays was I was surprised that she's not a writer and that she just wrote these 2 books on the side, which is like awesome.
Yeah, surprise. Cool. So we're going to start getting into this book. We're separating it into 3 different sections, and we're starting with the first 5 essays.
Yes, and that's from pages 1 through 76. Those 5 essays are Happy Birthday or Whatever, the namesake of the book, Animals, Spelling Bee Plus, Crimes of Fashion, and Stroke Order.
Yeah. And so read along with us or go ahead and listen to us if you'd like. We're going to be breaking down those first 5 essays. I also realized that our podcast is a read-along podcast.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
I just found out this term. So read along with us.
Yes.
But if you did want to join in on a discussion or even create a discussion, or if you wanted to get in contact with us, how can they do so?
You can find us on Instagram at Asian Book Club Pod, P-O-D, or you can email us at asianbookclubpod, P-O-D, @gmail.com.
Yeah, and you can also find us at asianbookclubpod.com. That also has a link to our bookshop, where you can find our recommendations and other books that we're reading. But
also, quick plug, I just looked it up. You can find Happy Birthday or Whatever on Bookshop. So if you do decide to purchase through Bookshop, we hope you will choose our bookshop.
That's bookshop.org/shop/Asian Book Club Pod.
Yes.
Otherwise, please rate, review, and subscribe.
Yes, please. Especially if you rate, review, and subscribe now, you can say that you were one of the OG listeners. So,
one of the OG Alpha Besties. No?
Please help us find a new name for y'all.
Yes, so please help us find a name because y'all are literally the best.
Wow.
Until next time.
Bye.